Hi guys and welcome. Today I'm going outside, taking advantage of this beautiful weather, and I'm going to be creating some DIYs straight out of trash. I have these pieces of wood that were left over. We were gonna burn them, but then I saw potential and I'm going to be making something out of them. And then I also have a pot that my mother-in-law was throwing out, and I thought I could probably salvage it and make it look more beautiful. So without further ado, let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is dismantle these and cut them where they need to be cut. So here they are, all nicely cut, and I did sand a little bit on the edges just to get rid of that loose wood so you don't get splinters while you're working with it. You will need a drill, some screws, as well as some wood glue. I am just putting screws in simply to hold the pieces together, so that way the wood glue has some time to cure. I have in my last Sunday's video showed you how I cut these and how I sand them, so I didn't want it to repeat myself in this video as well, so that's why I did not show it to you. But it's pretty standard cutting. I use a circular saw and some miter saw, as well as just a circular sander. And my screw gun here, I realized, was running out of battery, so I had to go and switch the battery. The table isn't the greatest for drilling. As you can see, when I drill, it kind of shakes the whole table. I have lucked out and found this place on Facebook Marketplace that was advertising free pallet wood and skids, and all you had to do is go pick them up. And sometimes when you see these free pallet woods or skids, they're not in the greatest shapes. These were amazing. Most of them were in wonderful shape. The wood wasn't too dirty or moldy or any of that stuff, so there wasn't a lot of prep that the wood needed in order to use it for any type of DIYs. This is my third time using these. I had picked up one with my van and loaded up the whole back of the van full, and this is a third project that I'm using them for. And we had bought them originally to build a little storage shed for all the firewood we had purchased. My husband still hasn't gotten to do that, so I've been slowly using up all the pallet wood. I'm sure he's gonna if he decides to go ahead with the project, he's gonna have to go get some more. Oh well, you snooze you lose. So now I'm just measuring out, making sure that I cut this wood to fit inside of it. Originally I thought I did that, but then I had forgotten to take into consideration the sides. So I had made all three pieces of wood the same size, but this one was needed to be a touch shorter because of the sides. So I am just adding the wood glue to these. I'm not going to be screwing the sides because it's fairly a tight fit, so it'll be enough to hold the wood in place. So once this had some time to cure, after I was done assembling it, I let it cure for a couple hours, and then I moved on to staining it. And I am using a very thin stain in dark walnut. It is one of my favorite stains to use. I've been using it for a while. It has kind of already dried up, and I had to kind of remove the thick layer off of it, but there's still a little bit left, a life left in it, so I thought I use it. And I just use a rag to apply the stain, and I'm just trying to move in a direction of the wood grain. I am using some plastic gloves this time around because I hate using plastic gloves or anything. I feel like I can't feel the project that I'm working on. But I have been making cooking videos over on my cooking channel, and it does not look good at all when I have my fingers all black and brown stained, and they're stained under my fingernails, and it just looks so yucky. So I decided to use the gloves for the stain, not for the chalk paint or even acrylic paint for the stain. I managed to take the chalk paint and acrylic paint easily off of my fingers, but the stain seems to linger and stay for a while. I even have to cut my nails after I'm done staining things because it just won't come off. So I want to mention too, if this is your first time stopping by my channel, my name is Sonja, and this is my DIY channel where I create projects like these along with furniture makeovers, thrift store flips, and some dollar store DIYs. So if this is something that interests you, I would love it if you consider becoming my part of my YouTube family, pressing that subscribe button and a notification bell so you don't miss out any of my future uploads. Currently I am uploading 3 times a week, so there is plenty to watch and get inspired by. And if you want to go a little bit further, make sure you check out all of the rest of my channels that I have. There's some cooking, home decor and cleaning, as well as a vlogging channel that is brand new. So like I said, if you're feeling adventurous and you would like to see more of me, make sure you head on to my description box where you will find the links for the rest of that stuff. And I'm also on Instagram too if you would like to follow me there. So now that I stained the piece and let it dry, which did not take very long, I just take a little piece of sandpaper and just rough it up a little bit. I think this box turned out amazing. I love the rustic barnwood look that the stain gave it, and I love the way it looks up against some greenery like this. So here is that pot. As you can see, it has tons of beautiful detailing on it, but it is very, very kind of run down and damaged and falling apart. So I am going to try and bring it back to life with some paint, some wax, and just, you know, try my best here. I absolutely love working on projects like these because this was destined for the garbage, and I am here to give it brand new life. And this was in a pretty rough shape. There was tons of loose stuff on it. So I took that same sandpaper that I just used on my other project and just sanded down some of these loose pieces, just so that way they don't interfere when I'm painting it. I'm not sure if somebody at some point was trying to fix this piece, because this brown, kind of grayish, it looked like it was in there. It looked like clay almost, and it was on there. It reminded me that something that you would do when you would try and glue pieces together. However, there was nothing on the inside to indicate that it was cracked, so I'm not quite sure what that was, or whether that was just a color that was underneath. Like I said, I am not sure. So once all of the loose pieces were sanded down, I proceeded to paint the whole piece with graphite. I gave it a fairly decent coverage. There were some areas that were showing because I just wanted them to show. I love using, obviously if you watch my channel, I absolutely love using chalk paint, especially for projects like these. Originally, before I actually saw exactly how textured this piece was, I was considering using, mixing up some baking soda paint and painting it with that, but this had so much texture on it that I did not, that would have been pointless. But if you would like to see me use some baking soda paint and what the look that it gives to a smooth surface, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to share. There are plenty of vases and pots that need some new life to them, given to them between my house and my mother-in-law's house, and we have been actually talking about redoing them all. She was considering just chucking them and buying all new ones, but I love redoing stuff like this, so I thought that the baking soda paint might do the trick for her. So like I said, let me know down in the comments if you would like to see that kind of video. I currently can't go to thrift stores. They're shut down because we are in lockdown. I live in Ontario, Canada, so shopping and my family members' garbages is what I've resorted to. So now that the piece was painted and drying, I mixed up my white acrylic paint and water, equal parts of white acrylic paint and water. Originally, I was going to use white wax on this project, but then I have changed my mind in the process of it, which happens often when I'm DIYing, and decided to do an acrylic whitewash on this piece. This is such an easy process, and it gives the pot such a unique and amazing look. And I will be using the sponge brush, 1-inch sponge brush, to apply the paint onto the piece, and you will also need a lint-free rag to wipe everything off. So just an FYI, you will go through several of these brushes because the surface is fairly rough, and as you're applying this paint, it tends to rough up the sponge and fall apart. So I'm dabbing instead of rubbing here because I'm trying to get it into all the crevices. I'm not doing this throughout the whole piece because there are areas where there's not that much detail. So in those areas, I just brush it on. But here I was just dabbing just to get into all the little nooks and crannies that this pot had. And you want to work in sections. You don't want to cover this whole area all at once because the paint will dry. So you want to pick sections and just work on that section until it's completely done. So once I'm finished applying the paint, I take the rag and I will wipe it off. So this is fair. The look that you end up with totally depends on you. If you don't want so much white to show, you wipe it off more. If you want more of the white to show, you don't wipe it as much. I do like all the little nooks, crevices to have the white showing in them, so I'm not going as heavy on the wiping in those areas. And then when I move on to a little bit more of a design, like the little things that are popping out, I'd go a little bit more just to give it a little bit of a darker look, because the dark and then the white around it really looks good that way. But that's just me. Like I said, this can be, you can take this any way you want, like how much, it all depends on how much pressure you're putting and how much wiping you're actually doing. And if you want to get into those little crevices, I just kind of wrap it around my finger and push it in with my nail and wipe it down that way, the rag. Or you can even maybe take a little Q-tip and get in there to get as much white off as you want. Once I was finished with this pot, I did show it to my mother-in-law and she absolutely loved it, and that's how we came about talking about all the other pots and vases that she had that she wanted me to redo. So here it is, all on its own. I think it looks absolutely stunning, completely new look. I can't believe it is that ugly terracotta pot that it was. I'm sure at one time in its life it was beautiful, but it kind of ran its course. And I did decorate it just a little bit with some greenery just to show you what it would look like if you had a plant in there. This last piece was actually a subscriber request. She had asked if I could make something out of pill bottles. So I had this large PGX Daily bottle that I saved from recently when I was spring cleaning, and I thought the bottle was a good size and it would look good as a vase. So I ended up removing obviously the sticker on it, and I thought it was going to be sticky, but it was actually had no stickiness to it whatsoever. And I spray painted with some chalked Rust-Oleum spray paint, chalk paint, but in a spray paint chalk paint, and let that dry. I cover it fairly well. You probably could have just left it as is, but because it was white, but I wanted it to have more of a chalk texture. Wanted to show you this very expensive custom built drying rack that you can't find anywhere, that I am using to dry my bottle. So I recently saw this technique done on Pinterest, so I thought I'd give it a try. So I take my Abusan blue chalk paint. Now if I do this next time, I would water it down a little bit, but you take your vase and you dip it into the paint. I dipped it twice just because on my way back up I did rub the side of it off, so I had to re-dip it. And then you turn it upside down and let it dry completely while it's dripping off. I think this gave it such a unique texture and look, and I was so pleased with the way that it turned out. I think it looks absolutely beautiful, and if you're looking for the coastal look, go ahead with white and blue. If you wanted more of a farmhouse look, I would go with black paint, but I think this is absolutely stunning and so unique. So I'd like to thank you all for watching. Don't forget to press the subscribe button and make sure your notification bell is on, and thank you all so much for watching again, and I will see you all in my next video.